Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Align Life, Brain-Based Health Solutions, Chiro HD, Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, German College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, the IFCO, and 100% Chiropractic. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 561 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing John Dearlove. And if you want to hear the story of how we're creating a healing network, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today I have John Dearlove on with me. I'm really excited for this interview. We're going to talk about a lot of things with communications and tech and marketing and brand. I think that there's a lot of things that people are going to learn from this episode today. So please take out your pens, papers, your digital, and take some notes as we go through this interview process today. Before we jump into episode 561, I'm going to let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first, we protect freedom of speech. We think that's so important. A lot of people out there that are creative and think outside the box, they get shadow banned, marginalized, censored, and we've never done that to anybody. So we really believe it's important to protect freedom of speech. So we've never censored anyone because we don't like to be censored either. Then we do believe in medical health freedom and family health freedom. We think they're not the same things, but we have to focus on them as a culture. And then we'll get a bit more philosophical within the chiropractic profession. We believe in BJ Palmer's sacred trust and protecting that. If you don't know what that means, go right now to your favorite search engine and look for BJ Palmer's last words. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you previously did, I guarantee you. Then as we round out the intro, subluxation-based chiropractic, we believe in that and support that. And we believe in innate intelligence and universal intelligence, that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And now that that's all laid out for everybody, that's our big why around Chiro Hustle. Now I want to give a warm welcome to John Dearlove. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, 561 of these episodes. I just saw you over at Mile High, and you guys were extremely busy. And we're doing really important work over there. So we can talk a little bit about that too. But first things first, I'm curious about your uniqueness in this awesome world of chiropractic. What makes you unique in chiropractic?
The fact that we produce record-breaking results for our chiropractors that we work with, as we have done with other relationships, including Cancer Treatment Centers of America. I was the CEO of Mercola.com, made it the highest doctors traffic website in the world, doctors' websites. And we've done this for a lot of chiropractors, including like Dr. Ziegler, who's been on your show, who's a PI chiropractor. And he actually has retained, as he's stated, over 4.5 years, he's retained over 70% of his patient relationships.
So I think a big cornerstone to what you've done is helped grow brands. Mercola, I think it's cancer centers, right?
Yeah, cancer treatment. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. How did you come into those organizations? What did it look like inside of there? And where did you take it to?
Well, so Cancer Treatment Centers of America was struggling, went bankrupt almost 3 times in the 90s. And, I came on board, went to a board meeting in St. Moritz, Switzerland, gave a whole presentation. My background is behavioral analytics, gave a presentation to the board and the senior staff, and redirected the entire company as far as how and who they're communicating with, and took it from 32 million to 3.5 billion, so about 10,000%. Then we also did the same thing. I did the same thing as the CEO of Mercola. He's doing about 200,000. He had about 200,000 subscribers. There's all kinds of problems. I won't get into the specifics, but there's almost everything. There's a problem in every corner. Let's just say. Restructured the whole thing in about a few months, 3-4 months, and skyrocketed it from 200,000 to about 5 million subscribers, and turned it into the highest doctors traffic website in the world as far as traffic. Higher than Dr. Oz, higher than Dr. Phil.com, higher than MayoClinic.com. And I actually have Alexa public showed rankings that shows that we did accomplish that. That's from 2010. I'm happy to share that. And as far as doctors, basically, example I was giving you about Dr. Ziegler, he was, as I understand it, he shared with us that he was spending, 50 to 100,000 in trying to communicate and stay in relationship with his patients. He had a team of freelancers, and that went, when he saw our program and realized we would actually give him weekly 204 articles and 4 articles a week over a period of 52 weeks for 3,500. He just went completely with us, and then after 4.5 years, retained over 70%. Just so you understand, on the internet, if somebody sends weekly e-magazines, weekly emails of any sort, they typically go down to 2 to 5% within a year. And so he's retained 70%. That means when a patient has another occurrence of a health issue a year or 2 years later, they come back to him. And that's what we do for all the chiropractors.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear this, because I know that that's one of the hardest thing for anybody inside of any market is, how do I get more traffic? How do I get more attention?
Yeah. So, and honestly, chiropractors have about 80% inactive usually. And, and your audience probably can understand and relate to something in that category. About 80% inactive, 20% active. And so if you think about your inactives right off the bat, by actually putting out, it's all about relationship. It's communications and it's timing. If you put out weekly articles that are valuable and useful, but it's not just about chiropractic. In fact, the chiropractic should be a very small part of the articles. However, it can be embedded. It just shouldn't be blatant, because otherwise you're telling and selling. So what you really should have is articles of all sorts and in diversity on health, but you should have about 3 articles. We do 3 articles a week on health in general. 1 article a week that's actually lifestyle, which we call the surprise in the Cracker Jack box, and that's keeps the people opening, seeing what else is in there. So the point being is that you want to have articles that are engaging, have useful, problem solutions. We do have the same, the research team that I built at Mercola. Writers, my software team is out of Manila. So, basically we write articles every week, and it's all researched, it's all right, but we're not doing fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We're not pushing fear. We don't have 1 article ever, for our doctors that says anything about vaccinations, but the doctor can write their own comments. They can write their own articles. They can add those to it. They can opt out of articles, but it's all in their control. So the point being is sending those weekly builds a relationship with the inactives, going back to the inactives. And so now you're re-engaging them on a weekly basis. Now, if you just think about the math, if you get 25% of your inactives over the next year or 2 years to come back, that actually equals, if it's 80%, it equals this, it doubles your active patient base. That's just pure math, right? So, so the point being is, here's one way, is just doing that. The second way is your best referrals come from your active patients. That's the 20%. Well, now when you get going out and going to the whole 80%, a lot of those some of those may not come back right away, but the entire group remembers you, and they start, they'll forward those articles to loved ones, and they'll see your name, and you'll start getting referrals, because that's the best referral, comes from your patient base. This is your inactives, re-engaging them. This skyrockets your referrals.
I've been doing a lot of communication with people over marketing for 15 years now. Why does the content marketing strategies you work, why do they work so well? I'm just curious.
Well, they work so well because all we're doing is just like chiropractors open up like Dr. Bradley Roush states, and we work together, and he's working with Bobby Kennedy, and we speak with Bobby Kennedy all over the country. He's just like we did, at Denver at Mile High and at Sherman and other places. But the point is that as Dr. Bradley talks about, is that opening the channels that are blocked, that's what chiropractors are doing, and then your body innately heals itself, right? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. That's my intro.
So, so my point to you is, what do? We're taking the obvious, the blatant, natural paths that are already there, and we're doing it super affordably, super effectively. And so one of the things we actually do as well is that we do video reviews, patient reviews. So we do patient reviews. We give the doctor a phone app, and if they want to go down this road, it's really effective. And you just, and the patient, how many patients do you have a day that actually say, oh my gosh, I can't believe what you just did for me, right after you do the treatment? It happens all the time. So that moment of enthusiasm, you take the phone app and say, would you mind repeating that? I have so many patients who would really benefit from this. This is innate. This is just like what you do for the patients. You just say, would you mind repeating that? And if they say yes, which is 80 to 100% of the time, I can give you, like, Dr. Ron over in Manhattan, you just hold that phone up, hold your phone up, have them repeat what they just said, and then you give it to them, review, and they review it, and then they give you 1 to 5 stars. Usually it's 4 to 5. It's very rarely below 5. And if it's below 4, it doesn't go out to social media anyway, but it automatically goes to social media. So the doctor doesn't have to do anything. Rewrite the articles. It's all high quality. So, it's all produced for them, but then they can add their own comments. They can add their own information. We're making it innate. We're making it natural, but we're actually producing the highest quality there is on the internet. That's how I built Mercola. People say to me all the time, there's a lot of newsletters out there. You're just another newsletter. Really? So was Mercola just another newsletter? You think I put some formulas behind that made it the highest traffic doctor's website in the world, and still is, right? So the point is others try to compete, like Josh Hacks and other ones, but they don't have the formulas, and you're going to get the formulas that I built. That's what I do for doctors, for chiropractors.
That is brilliant.
Well,
I love it so much. So when it comes to these videos, because I'm curious, because I'll just tell you, after I finish a show, I don't have the same like sales cycle that you do for getting these things. I'll reach out, say we'll do this interview today on a Tuesday. Yes. I'll reach out to you Monday and I'll say, hey, John, if you like what we're doing over here at Chiro Hustle and you think that we're making an impact in the world, would you mind doing a 30-second to 1 minute testimonial saying what we're doing to help the profession?
Yeah, you could send a link. We give you a link, you could send it right to them.
Yeah.
And so we can provide that to you. Yep. That's part
because
of it. So it's a phone app, and it's also a link. If a patient doesn't have the time to stay, you can send it to them. We have doctors in San Diego that have patient they're not testimonials really, they're reviews. There's a difference. Testimonials high like this, all hot, all recorded, and it's all studio or whatever. But the fact is, this is real, authentic, and everybody knows it when they see these patients because they're all in different environments. So we have a doctor in San Diego that actually had sent a link to a patient that flew in from Alaska. Now, you're the doctors in San Diego, and you'll see this video out of 275 videos that this doctor has. Think of that. How many, and you can see how many they have. That gives credibility. But the fact is, the third or fourth one, I can send it to you if you want to see it. The third or fourth one has snow in the ground, and she's talking about how worthwhile it was to fly in. That's like what we did for Cancer Treatment Centers of America. 80% of the patients, 90% of the patients came from outside of the state, very hospital.
Wow. So I look at marketing too. I've been like I mentioned, I talk to people all the time in this space. A lot of times people only pay attention to the people that are showing up on a daily basis. You talk about reactivation, old lists, old patient files, dead files. And I think it's really important that people pay attention to those, that large percentage.
Yes. That's a piece. It's a piece, but it's also the piece that actually gives you more referrals, because if the best referrals you get is, is 20% of your actives, only 20% usually of the 20%. Well, now if you get 20% of the inactives, that's almost as many as your active patients. Well, actually, it is nearly that amount, because 25% of inactives would be the equal.
Well,
Yes.
Anybody out there that's listening, how much it costs to acquire one patient.
Right.
And how many dead files you guys have sitting on your electronic health records right now.
Yeah.
They all do. They're all like, gosh, let me go see how many inactives I have right now. They'd probably be like, oh gosh, that's a lot.
About 80% usually. Yeah.
So
you've been in business for 5 to 10 years or more. Yeah.
And I'll just be honest, when somebody like me starts getting chiropractic somewhere, we get busy with life, like the patient base.
Yeah.
And we're distracted.
Yeah.
And we don't maybe finish our care, or we feel this guilt or shame of saying, gosh, I didn't make that last visit. Now I'm not going to go back.
Sure.
Now I have an excuse. Now I'm going to deal with this, and the relationship's over.
So you understand, the other thing is my background is behavioral analytics. So 80%, 80% of women are the nurturers and gatherers. They've been doing this for the last several thousand years. Okay. And men have been hunters and seekers. And so the women are the ones that really read the most. I always say at these doctors' conferences, about 80% of men rarely read and rarely write. We're producing the content for you. You can add comments to any article. In the previews, we give you a preview for the whole week before. It only takes 5 minutes to read all the articles, but you can add comments. You should, if you can, if you have time. But we have a lot of doctors. I can tell you that, like Dr. Bradley Roush, will probably kill me when I say this, but I know he almost has never read the articles. But when he does, he loves them, and he's ecstatic. But the fact is, it's automatic. He doesn't have to. So, but if he wants to, and he goes through them. Now, some of the docs have really good front desk people, and some are teachers before, and they love the articles, and they can actually make suggestions and come up with comments, and we'll give you some algorithms as to some things you can do with hashtags and writing your own articles to actually put you to the top of Google in the first 1, 2, 3 pages. Dr. Ziegler's done that, and he owned those first 2, 3 pages in Utah for PI, for personal injury. When people are looking for a doctor for an injury, that's not sponsored, and that's free. Once you use our system, it's this automatic. So we have doctors like Dr. Ron in Manhattan. He was paying $6,000 to $10,000 a month for his Google sponsored ads, and as he says, it almost never mattered whether you spent $6,000 or $10,000 a month. It was about the same amount of people that came in. It would just vary every week. It was crazy. For 9 years, Dr. Bradley Roush says he was whining, complaining. Sorry, Ron. But anyway, the point is that the fact is that when he used our system, suddenly his life changed, because it was automatic. It's all systemized. And he can do additional things, and he should do additional things. And we have doctors that do write, additional things like Dr. Ziegler, and you can own those first 2, 3 pages of Google in the search engines with your specialty by just adding comments and adding some articles periodically. It just pushes you to the top.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Align Life, Brain-Based Health Solutions, Chiro HD, Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, German College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, the IFCO, and 100% Chiropractic, Let's hustle. I've been waiting for a while during this interview to ask you why chiropractic? Why are you going all in with helping these natural healers with your abilities of content marketing and first page, second page Google, video reviews, articles written, old files, reactivations? Like why are you taking such an interest in this group of people?
Okay, so number one, we've been living in a healthcare system that's actually sick care. I think everybody agrees. When I gave the speech, and you know, some of these speeches with Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Rausch, everybody agrees. This is a sick care system. It's based on symptomatic assessment and treatment, and it's highly focused on pharmaceutical and surgery. It's highly focused on going to healthcare networks that are sick care networks. You know, the one group that actually is not been touched, and I used to have an ad agency in Michigan Avenue, 20 years. I was on the dark side, okay? We did the advertising. The only country in the world at that time, that, you know, only New Zealand now can do ads for pharmaceuticals. So I was on the dark side, you know, so this is full circle, right? My intention is to change this entire direction. And the chiropractors are the leading group that have the greatest potential to make the difference and to start this movement. We are creating, I've been asked to be the CEO of a national program that is creating a program and making it super affordable for doctors. And we're starting right with chiropractors, because they're the ones that have hands-on relationships with patients, that without focusing on drugs and surgery, they really heal. And when I say they heal, the new network we're building and we own, we just haven't launched it yet. So, you know, everything we're doing right now, anybody who gets in is going to be grandfathered in. This new program is healing care, not healthcare, not sick care. It's healing care network. And it's going to be across. We're starting with chiropractors, but we want to put chiropractors with MDs as well, by the way. So I don't know if you've heard about Epic, but Dr. Stan, who actually brought this to Sherman, it's in Sherman, it's in Life University. It's a sound wave proven, and it's adjustment with sound waves. There's new technologies we're going to be bringing forward through this new program and through this new network. And we're going to be able to tie doctors together. When you need a doctor of a specialty, you're going to be able to find them really quickly. We're creating a system with our videos. So it's going to be a patient rating system on specific modalities, specific DRGs, diagnostic, really specifically what the patient says, pain, back pain, you know, shoulder pain, whatever it is. The doctor will be able to click on it and then own that, you know, have the most amount of ratings that are video ratings, authentic. So you can go online and find who's got the most amount of ratings. Anybody who comes into this program right now is going to be able to be at the top of that rating system. There is nothing like it. So my intention is to help chiropractors be the forefront of this entire movement. I'm sorry for the long answer.
No, I love it. It stirs up a couple things for me. I want to get a bit more granular with the answer just on the reviews. Sure. But the campaign that I've talked about a lot for some time now is to heal the healers. We need to make sure that we're nurturing and protecting these chiropractors. Absolutely. Because I look at it like war, yes, or like a chessboard.
That's true.
Like every time that a chiropractor goes into financial despair or default, or yes, the student loan succumbs them, or whatever it might be, they might fall into, I don't want to practice chiropractic anymore. We lose one of our frontline soldiers.
Sure.
So we need to heal the healer, man.
Okay, so not only heal, but protect. You said
yes.
That. Okay, so Dr. Bradley heard me give a speech with Bobby Kennedy in 2019 at a pediatric conference. He heard me say that if you follow if you allow me to help you with our programs, we will, one, keep you from being canceled, because we don't produce any content and don't put any content out there that'll get you canceled. We just give you inspiring information for your patients, right? And for that to be forwarded and nurtured. Secondly, we'll keep you from being jailed. I've worked with many doctors that have gone to jail. I've been involved with ACAM, American Colleges of Advancement in Medicine, on the board. I'm telling you, I can tell you stories that take way too long for what you have today. But and then the third one is killed. How many doctors do we all know that have been killed? You know, some people wonder. I can tell you, I know. And the more you go out there and the more you put yourself in the limelight, and the bigger your audience, the higher potential is you can be killed, right? You know, either canceled, low end, jailed, higher end, as far as audience following you, and then killed. These are factors. These are, I mean, would you agree? Would you?
From my perspective, I think it's unfortunate, but the financial end of it is the biggest situation that I see.
It's actually control.
I see the financial despair as the elephant in the room. I see your things that you've mentioned as like real concerns for like popularity and speaking the truth and where we're at today with the social media marketplace and like tribalism and followers and traffic and attention. But really the big concern I see is our chiropractors get out and they don't know how to pay their bills because it's so extremely expensive to be an upstart. They don't want to be an associate because it's demeaning in a way. And they get into the marketplace and they're like, well, I have overhead. I want a nice office. I have to have staff. I have to have all the bells and whistles. And the next thing they know, they're not seeing enough people to actually create a quality of life and a good living. And it's really tough on them. That's what I see.
Okay. So let me just tell you that Dr. Bradley Rausch, we have a program to help doctors as well in everything you just talked about. And that is to maximize the minimum. In other words, you don't need to have the flashiest, the biggest, or whatever. Focus on what you really do need, and he actually can help. We have doctors that are doing on-site training. He has programs, they're neurological programs, and he's a chiropractor. I understand. But he has got all these different degrees and backgrounds. The fact is that on Park Avenue in New York, he will have doctors fly in and spend a day with them, and he'll teach them how to see. And he's retained 70% of his patients before he even started using our programs. But now it's even better. So the point is that he actually sees between 100 to 120 patients a day with 70% retention. But he actually has super high outcomes and value and appreciation. So how does he do that? But he does it also in a very effective financial way that actually, to your point, don't overstretch yourself. He actually does consult on this exact area on what to do, when to do it. He's sold, I think it's something like 7 or 8 practices. He's has extremely high success all over the country, from Vermont to all over in Dominican Republic, even, and I think he was in Spain at one point. He's a remarkable guy, and he actually consults. And it's very quick to get to understandings with him.
He's really
part of our network. He's part of the network.
That's really good that, I see it from a different looking glass. You see it from a looking glass, and Bradley sees it from a looking glass. Now I have like the prospect looking glass. We're going to talk granular and then we'll wrap up.
Sure.
So everybody out there right now, as you've noticed, they're not looking for sick care method. They're looking for, as you call it, healing care.
Yes.
And they are looking for something. They just don't know it's chiropractic. And they're looking for somebody to know, like, and trust. And you do that. And this is the part I'm trying to get to, is it's the granular effect. It's the videos that they see that when they search for a chiropractor.
Patient videos.
So what's better for that doc? Do you suggest that they do a video only, or do you turn that into a text review also that goes onto the searches for text?
So first of all,
like a Google review.
So first of all, you should be doing articles every week, because there's all different types of learners and relationships. A lot of people think the video is the only thing. Well, I can tell you it's one thing. Okay, getting an inbox every week and having your name coming into the inbox, even if they just see the subject line, as Dr. Casey wrote in Texas has always said, and she came out of Parker. But the fact is, and Dr. Fab, I think, has said this many times as well, getting your name constantly in the inbox every week, and then people opening that and reading articles. Next of all, having your videos in a place to see the videos in your articles every week. The next thing is that's being broadcasted. That's broadcasted out. So how are you going to broadcast out the videos? The fact is this is, each video gets broadcasted out, but you want to just make sure that you're reaching the patients in every way. The second thing is the videos. The videos are really important. And why are those important? Because it's the authenticity, the credibility of a patient saying these things, but how do you get in their hands? So we've got a doctor right now that's going to be flying in next Monday to see and work with Dr. Bradley in Park Avenue from the Midwest, and he's going to spend the day with them. And his question is how do I get those 120 patients a day? I said, well, first learn how to treat them and do 120 a day, and then use our systems. And that's why you're doing all of it at once. You're not doing one piece at a time. You're doing it all. And you're doing it very affordably. We're making this so affordable. Realize at $200 a month, which if you text me, we can get you set up for $99. Actually, it's an annual fee that comes down to $99 annualized times 12. But the fact is, for basically, a couple $100 a month, be able to actually get every patient that it becomes enthusiastic, almost every one of them, to actually give you a video and make a statement, and then have that automatically posted for you without you doing anything. Once they click the approval and they give you a rating of 4 to 5, it goes automatically on your social media. Second thing is, we have another place where you can say, by the way, do you know any people, anyone in your family, loved ones, that has any health issues? Well, they might have some of these health issues that you've experienced. Would you mind actually putting it on your social media? 80% of them, this is reach you don't have. This is extended reach. Those patients click that. That's going out to their social media, okay? So everything we do is innate. Just like you as chiropractors do, everything you do is innate to heal the body, to let the body heal itself. As Dr. Bradley Rausch says, everything we're doing is to actually build communication relationships. This is all about relationships that are ongoing, continuous, right? With all of these different factors. Because if it's just one thing, it's just one thing. When all these things come together very effectively, very affordably, you have relationships, and they exponentially grow. So when Dr. Joe at Mile High started, he was the first speaker. You saw him, right? The first speaker at Mile High. He said 2 + 2 is 4. It's never going to change. 2 + 2 is 4. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And I came back in my opening speech. I said, well, that's nice, but how about changing the factors? 2 times 2 of the power of 10 is 2,048. I work in doing those kind of math figures. Wouldn't you rather have 2,048 more patients than 2 + 2 is 4? Are you with me?
I'm with you. So based on that statement, I got 2 last questions for you.
Sure.
Where's the profession going? Where do you see chiropractic evolving into?
It has choices. This currently, it's like, I don't know, everybody has different figures. There used to be 65,000 chiropractors. That was about 2011, 12, somewhere in that area. Maybe it grew up to maybe 70,000 chiropractors. I would suggest you during COVID, there's a very large amount of baby boomer chiropractors that actually either closed their offices. They're so frustrated during COVID and after COVID, and so you have choices, and they're all working. Most of these doctors are working individually, separately, not as a community, and they're kind of divisive in some cases. I'm looking at an inclusive program. Healing Network is an inclusive program figuring out who's the best of the best in certain areas, not just chiropractic, but who you can rely on, in different categories of other services that a patient might need. Be the center point, of healing, and become a network and support each other. We have chiropractors in our programs that actually put a header that has both their photos, and one might be a 20-minute drive apart, and they actually support each other during holidays, and they actually go in, and support their patients, over, when one takes vacation, the other one takes vacation. So the point is that you can co-market, you can do all kinds of really cool things. With our program, you can cross-market with realtors. You can start cross-marketing with dentists. I mean, there's all kinds of cool programs that we've built, and it doesn't cost anything extra to even cross-market with a realtor. If they have an e-magazine and you have one, you're going to be in their e-magazine as the contributor of their 3 health articles a week, and they're going to be in yours as the lifestyle article contributor. Now we don't charge anything extra for that. So my point is that I want to build a network for the value stream of changing from sick care to healing care, from healthcare to healing care. And the forefront, center point of that are chiropractors as the starting point. You guys are the pivotal center point.
Really powerful. So if people want to work with you, where do we send them to?
Phone number's right on the screen.
224-522-8950.
And I mean, you can look at the website, but I'm going to give you prices that are going to because I want everybody to be a part of this. So I'll give you prices that are going to be shocking you low. So the point is that look at the website, go to eNurtureReferrals.com. Go ahead and look at everything. There's a lot more to share with you. We have videos by Dr. Fabrizio Mancini that you can just give to a realtor if you want to cross market. And I can text those to you and show you how this works to make it really easy. Everything we've built and everything we have, I put $6.5 million into this program. This is not trivial for me. I've invested my life in this. And so my point to you is I'm doing this with great purpose. Just like Bobby Kennedy gets into facts, everything we're talking about is factual, directional, and it's statistical. I'm not looking at, this isn't puffery. This is real. This is the real deal.
Well, I thank you for being episode 561 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. There's lots of value in this. I'm sure people got their digital devices out and started making notes as we went through our interview process today. And if they didn't, they were taking notes, or they're pausing this episode and they're going back and listening a few times. Tons of value here. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today that you were hoping I would have asked you?
Well, that's a really great question. I guess, I just love to, I guess, how can we help more chiropractors become a part of this network? I mean, any ideas that anybody has, we're here to help. We're giving speeches almost every other week with Bobby Kennedy. I've known him since, obviously been doing this since 2019 with him. We'd love to actually do more of that. We're going to be, it looks like we're talking to the dental market too. Talk about partnering with another area. Dentists have some of the largest databases. I mean, crossover with a dentist, we're going to probably be speaking, I mean, by bringing Bobby Kennedy to this, I think there's 300,000 dentists. So you pick a dentist that wants to participate with you, and it cuts your, and either you skyrocket your database because you're expanding into theirs with them. So my point to you is that there's all kinds of things we've already built. Love to share. Text me and ask me and tell me any ideas you have. That would be my answer to how do we expand? How do we get more relationships and build this network? And it's going to be launched this next year, but anybody who's getting in now is going to be grandfathered in. Anybody we've served in the past will be grandfathered in. If you've been a part of our programs in the past, you canceled during COVID. We lost a lot of chiropractors, dropped out during COVID because they closed their practices. Come back in, join us again. There's more than we ever had before.
John Dearlove, episode 561, Chiro Hustle podcast. Let's build this network together. I appreciate you so much. Looking forward to the next time we get a chance to spend some time together. And just like what we've done with Chiro Hustle, I look forward to working with you also. I think there's a lot of growth and expansion. I've been in touch with John over the past week pretty consistently, and I can tell you that the mind of what he can do for the marketing of chiropractic is really special. So I appreciate you taking the value relationship with chiropractic and seeing how we can all work together to make healing a better world for all of us. So with that, I close out by telling everyone every time, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
All right. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.